This is the third video of the Blocksy series, and we're examining the elements that can go inside the header of Blocksy. Hi, my name is Stratos and I create video tutorials for WordPress. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. We finished with the account element, and let's go to the next one, which is the button. As you can see, the button can be cloned, so you can use how many buttons you want inside your header. I'm going to drag that and I'm going to put it next to the menu and probably after that. And as you can see, I cannot put one element on top of the other. I can only go next to the other. If I want to put it on top, I have to use another row. So in the same row, you cannot put elements one on top of the other. Let's click into the button and we're going to see immediately that we have two types. The one is the default, and as you can see, it grabbed the colors that we have already inside our theme. I haven't set them, that's in another video, but as you can see, it grabs the colors. And if I go and select the ghost, it will go with no background color. Let's go and select this one, which is the default. Size can be small, medium, large, or the default one. Let's go for medium. Then we have the label, and you can change what it says inside the button. Then we have the click behavior. It can open a link or it can open a pop-up. If you select as open a link, then you can send the link here. If you click open a pop-up, then you can create your pop-up template right here. Let's click first the open link and we're going to get back in here, change that to pop-up, and we're going to see also the settings for the pop-up. So the URL is going to be here. Then you can set it to open in a new tab or set link not to follow, set link to sponsored if you want, and then you can go and select icon. Of course, these are only the settings for the link. These are the settings for the menu. So we can now switch into the open pop-up and see what we have. So here you can click the create pop-up and it will go straight ahead into the content blocks where you can create your pop-up. I'm going to skip it for now because the content blocks is for another video. It will go and take some time in order to create some things inside the content blocks. So let's go back into the customizer. It's nice to see that it opens in a new tab and it doesn't exit the customizer in order to create the pop-up that you want. So let's go and put that back into the link. After that, we have the icon that you can select the icon that you want, or you can upload your own icon if you want. If you select the icon, then you have the icon size, you have the position that it can be left or right, and then we have the user visibility and we have logged in and logged out. And of course you can create, if you want, two buttons since we have the user visibility. Let's say that the one will say login, so you will only show that to logged out members, and the other will say logged out, and this will be displayed if you are already logged in. Not an ideal scenario for buttons, but this is an example. Then we have the custom CSS class, and of course we have the custom ARIA label. Let's go to the design, and here we can send the font color for the button. Let's go for red. Then we have the button color, so this is the background, and you can have it as you want. Next we have the border radius and the margin. As you can see, I cannot select the border because if I want to have borders, I have to go for ghost. Then into the design, I will have the button color to be actually the border, so I can go and put it like yellow, and you will see that these borders are going to be yellow. Let's go for something like black here. And that's all that I have to tell you about the button. Let's go back. If we want to clone the element, we just click clone and then we have the button, so we can add it into the position that we want as well. Let's delete that, remove that. Next we have the contact elements, and let's add it into the top row just above the logo, and let's click it in order to see it. As you can see, it displays the address with the street name, the phone with the phone number, and the mobile number right here. It also has icons right here. If we click into any of those arrows into the address, we will see all the settings inside here. We have the title that says address, we have the content that it's basically the street, and then we have the link, and we can optionally, of course, link that to a Google map or another page if we want. Then we have the icon, and as always, we can change the icon or upload our own icon. Usually when I add content details, I go and delete the address because I don't like it. I usually go with just an icon and the content information inside here. Let's close that. As you can see, I can also click the X and it will delete the address. Let's go to the phone. I'm going to delete the phone also. Keep in mind that if you want to add the link for a phone, you have first to have the tel and then the semicolon before the actual phone number in order for this to work as a link and call someone directly from this button. Let's close that and let's go for the mobile, and I'm going also to delete the mobile. Basically the settings are the same here, and I'm going to add also another thing just to see what we have. We have the work hours, fax, email and website. These are our only options, but keep in mind that you can add the website and then you can just select whatever you want to display instead of the website. So you can change the icon that we have and you can go and put something like we are under construction or whatever you want to display here, and you can link it however you want. You can also use your own icon if you want. So it doesn't matter what you choose, it does matter what you add inside. Of course, it's easier to identify it if you are actually using what it says here. If I want to delete something, I can click the X, and if I want to rearrange, I can just drag and drop it and select the order that I want for those elements. Let's go and select the open links in your tab. Then we have the link icon, so we can also link the icons instead of just the text, which is great. I'm going to do that as well. Then we have the icon size and the item spacing. Let's change that to 20 to see how it looks. The item spacing is between those three items. Let's go for 50 in order to see the spacing. As you can see, this is between the elements and not the icon to the actual content. So let's go for 20 again. Then we have the icon shape type, so we can switch between none, so it will not have a margin outside the icon. Then we have the round and then we have the square. If you select to have the rounded or the square, then you can also select different backgrounds if you want for those icons. Usually I go for none because I don't want for those to take too much space. I use the rounded and square if I'm going to add those into the footer, but for the header I don't want those to take too much space, so I usually select none. I'm going to leave it as it is in order to see the background color first. And then we have the shape fill type, we have the outline or solid. Let's go for solid in order to see the design, the background that we're going to put. Font family, you can easily understand what it's here, so this is for the content. Let's go for 15. Then we have the font color that we can change. This is the initial and this is the link hover color. So think that this is the common color, this is if it has a link, and this is when you hover over. And then we have the icon color that we can also change into something different. Let's go for white. We have another color for the hover, and then we have the icon background color that we can change into something different. This is for also the hovering. So as you can see, we can change and do how we like the icons. Then we have the margin and we can go for 50, and this is for the whole element, as you can see. Let's delete that. If I go into the general and remove the none for the shape type, I am basically removing the background color, so I only have the icons color here, so I can go and put here a blue color or a black color, and when I hover over I will have that blue. That's all with the content element. Let's go back and let's go to the next one, which is the content blocks. Of course, I'm not going to go deep inside here because the content block, basically you can select something and put here a content block, and as we said before, we're not going to dive deep into the content block in this video. It's nice that I can select anything that I want, add it as a content block inside my header. And let's go back. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete also the contacts. And let's go to the next one, which is the divider. Let's go here and put the divider. And as you can see, the divider is just a line that you have between two elements. So I can put it right here and I can separate the menu with the button. I wouldn't do that because I don't like it as it is, but maybe I would do something like that, and then I could go and put the contacts here. And if I select the divider, you can see the size, so I can select the size that I want. This is for the height. Then I have the style color, which is basically what's the color, the initial color, what's the width that we have. So we can select something like 5 and it will become with 5 pixel width. And then I can select if I want to have dot line or none, or of course none is not something that I would choose, or a single line here. Then we have the margin, and you can select to have right and left margin. Different settings, as you can see, for the mobile and the tablet view. Next, let's add the HTML, and let's click on it, and here we're going to see the old what we see is what we get editor of WordPress. So once you add that, you can add your text and you can do whatever the editor lets you do. You can go for bold, italics, it can handle URL, it can select something like different colors for the content, so you can add whatever you want inside the visual here. Also, you can add text, which is basically HTML code, and this is perfect if you want to use something to embed an element here, if you want to add maybe a weather widget or something different, if you want to add something with an iframe, and you can use the HTML code in order to add that. Also, you can add media if you want. I don't see the point, of course. We have the stretch container, and if you select that, we also have the maxed width, so we can take the available space that it has inside the top row. Also, keep in mind that this is for the column, because I have set that top row to 2 columns. And if I want, I can also select the content alignment to be into the middle or into the left, again inside the column that I have selected. Let's also see that we have the user visibility, so you can show it if you're logged in or logged out or both. And we have settings, of course, for the mobile and the tablet view. Into the design, we can select the font settings here. We can select the font color, heading color, and the margin for the element. Of course, all of those are already seen in another element, so we don't need to explain all of those settings again. Let's go back and let's continue. Let's go and select the next one. Will basically be the menu, but I'm going to skip it because the menu will be in a separate video. It has a ton of features and we're going to see it in a separate video. We have already seen the search, so let's go for the search box. And let's select that. So we have here the text that goes inside the search box. Then we have the input maximum width. So this is 25, and we can go and put something like 50. Then we have the input height, which is 40, so we can go to 60. You can see what it changes. We can change the icon. Again, we can select another icon or upload our own. We can show live results if we want, so the minute that the visitor will type something, he will get the results. The live results can have images if you want, or you can switch that off. Then we have the taxonomy filter, so you can add the taxonomy filter and it will show you the taxonomy that you are going to select. If you select post, of course, you'll have the post. If you select products, you'll have the product categories, so you can switch between those filters. We have the filter visibility, so we can switch off the filter visibility if we are in the mobile if we want. And once something is white, it will not show up in there. Then we have the search through criteria, and we have the posts and the pages. Once we add WooCommerce, we also see product here, so we can select if we want that. If you have added custom post types, then you will see the custom post types here, so you can select that in order to search into the custom post types. Let's go now to the design, and once you are here, we can see the input font color, so we can switch that to black, so it will change the text for that. Then we have the focus, so once you click inside here, this will change into a red, so we can click it and you will see that this is red. In order to see that this is actually selected, we have the input icon color, so you can switch that into a red one, and this will be the focus. Then we have the input border color, which is blue at this moment, so let's change that to red again to see what it's like. And then we have the input background color, initial, and again the focus. So the initial will be something like this, and once we go into focus, we are going for this one. So once I click it, it will change into that one. Input border radius, so we have the radius for the input. And then we have the margin settings down here. For the drop-down font, we have the settings, so once you have the results, basically they are into the drop-down. We have already seen some of those. And then you can select the font color. We can select the font height or any other settings that we have for the font. We have the drop-down background, we have the drop-down shadow and the divider. All of those settings are similar into the search element that we have already seen. So if you want to see what's exactly right here, you can go into the previous video and see the search element. Let's go back and let's see what we have next. We have the social, which is next, so I'm going to add it next to the HTML. We have already seen how to add the URLs of the social icons, but as we said, the URLs doesn't mean that it will automatically show the social icons anywhere in the website because it doesn't know where. So in order to show the socials for the URLs that you have already added, you have to add the socials elements. Once you do that, it will show the Facebook, Twitter, which is basically X, and then Instagram. If I click it, I will see that I have the icon source to be the default or a custom one. So I can change actually the icon to whatever I want, and this means that I can add custom social accounts if I have here. Let's go for the default, and then we have the URL source, which is the default. Basically, it grabs the URLs from the customizer that we already have set. And also we have custom, so you can put custom URL if you want here. Keep in mind that if you are going to use actually Facebook, then it's better to add it into the customizer where we have already added our accounts, because if you want to switch later on, it will automatically grab the new URL. Let's go for the default. Basically, all the settings are the same into these three. You can add here whatever you want. It's basically a pretty big list, as you will see here. I'm going to scroll between all of those, and if you want, you can pause the video in order to see if it's the one that you want inside here. If it's not, then by all means you can create your own icon and add it with your own URL. And as we saw already into the contact element, if you want to add something, you just select it and let's click plus. It will go down here. You can click it and you can select the icon source and the URL source. And if you want to rearrange that, you can drag and drop it wherever you want. If you click the X, it will actually delete that. Then we have the open links in a new tab if we want to set links as a no follow. I'm going to delete the search in order to have a little bit of space. Let's click the social again. Then we have the icon size and we can go for 40 or 20 or whatever we want. We have the icon spacing, so this is the spacing between those icons. Then we have the icon's color, which is the custom or the official, so immediately it grabs the official colors of every social element that you want here. Then we have the label visibility and of course the icon shape type for none, rounded and square. We already saw what it does here. And of course the visibility, you already know what it's doing. Let's go for the design and you will see that we only have the margin here. Now, as you can see, it doesn't go into one line, and this is because the HTML is stretching the container. So I'm going to disable that, and as you can see now, it goes into one line. Okay, that's all with the social. So next we have the trigger. Now, the trigger basically is the three dots that you may see once you switch a website into a mobile version. So basically, this is something that you will press and you will see the menu if you select the mobile version. Of course, here we can add far more than just a menu element. We can add whatever you want. It will give you an off-canvas area, as you can see here. And once it's clicked, it will show the off-canvas area with all the elements that we're going to add here. This is also something that needs to have a separate video because it has too many settings that we can set in order to see how it works exactly. So I'm going to delete it as well here, and you're going to see it once I select the mobile and the tablet version of our header, and I'm going to switch to that trigger and select how I want to display it, and also I'm going to edit the canvas area. The last element that we have here is basically the widget area, and once I click and select that, it went straight here because I didn't leave it exactly what I wanted. Okay, now that I have selected the widget area, I can click it and it will show me basically the widgets. So whatever element or plugin I have already added, and it will add the widget into my website, I can go and select that from here. So I can go and select the widget, and let's go for browse all, and you can use all the elements that you have inside Gutenberg in order to create the widget and select it and have it how you want. If you are going to add more than one elements, or if you're going to build something and this is not works for you because you cannot do what you want, you can switch into the appearance and inside the widgets, and here you will find the area of the widgets. But keep in mind that here you can do something, but you're not going to see live the results. You can start building the header widget area. This is exactly the same as the area inside the customizer, but of course here you can also see live the results of what you are choosing and what you're doing at the moment. So do whatever works for you. If you can build that element inside here, or go into the widgets and start building it right here, and then just have the website open in a new tab and see how it's looking into the front end. Let's close that, and now it's time to see the row. If I hover over the top row and the middle, the main row, or the bottom row, I will see that I also have a wrench here that I can click. Once I click it, I have different settings. As you can see here, I have the top row, so basically general and design. And as you can see, it says container structure, which is the default, boxed or full width. The default is basically the content that we have already set inside our settings. And then we have the boxed, which is going to be a little bit less, as you can see here. And then for the full width, we'll have the full width here. Let's go for the default. Then we have the row minimum height, and if you want, you can do a minimum height that it's bigger than 50 pixels. And then we have the design. This is the background for the whole row. We can select the color, and we have different colors, as you can see, for the mobile tablet view. And let's select something like red here in order to see where it's going. Then we have the top border, we have the bottom border, and we have the shadow as well. All of those are the settings for the top row. If I click the main row, I will get the same settings for the main row. Of course, I have the row minimum height to be different. And here I have the sticky state row shrink. This is not something that you enable to have that row sticky. This is just for you to enable the shrink if you have the sticky enabled. There is another place to enable the sticky into the header, and we're going to see it in a later video. But if you select to do a sticky header, then you can select here to shrink that row. If you have a big logo here and you have too many elements, then you may need to shrink the row because it takes too much of a space. And if you have it always here into sticky position, then you don't have enough space to show the website. So you may need to shrink that to a different height. And as you can see, then I can select to have that row max height to be 50, 70%, or however I want. If I scroll down, it will take less space. I cannot see it because I haven't enabled the sticky. I will do it in a later video. And we can have a different logo for the sticky version, and we're going to see it later on once we go into that video that we are going to switch to the sticky versions of our header. Let's disable that. And for the design, as you can see, you can have the same settings that we have in the top row. Now, if you're wondering why we don't have that sticky state row shrink for the other rows, it's basically because this is the one that it takes the bigger space into the row because it has basically the logo. So this is the one that we may need to shrink. The others can be disappeared if we want when we are into the sticky position. We have that feature as well. If we want, we can only enable to sticky the main row, and we can shrink it if we want. Let's click also to the bottom row, and we will also see that we have the same settings, and we have also a render empty row. This means basically that it will give us the row here even if it's empty, so we'll have bigger space here even if we don't select anything. And here you can switch into the minimum row, so we can go for like 40, so we have 40 pixels down here. So if you add too much of space on top here, then you may need to add some space at the bottom, and you can do that by rendering an empty row. Then the design is basically the same, so we have the same features. As for the columns that I said, once you add something into here, into the middle, it will go and make the top row into 3 columns. The same will go into here, into the main, and into the bottom row as well. So that was all with that video. We finished the elements that we have, the default elements that we have inside our header. The next one will be for the menu, and then we're going with the tablet and the mobile view. So we're going to also speak for the trigger and the off-canvas area as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe for more videos like this, and of course for the Blocksy series. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.